It's deadline day, and I think you're trying to do a little bit of business with Aaron Lennon, but it didn't quite come off. Is that basically what happened? Can you fill us in?
Yeah, we had a couple of targets actually, but as with all these things, you need everything to fall into place, and clubs have to agree, players have to agree to it, financially has to be right, so there's a lot of things that have to be ticked before you can get players over the line. So in the end, it didn't happen for any number of reasons. So in the end, we've ended up with Philip Volscheid in this window, which we're delighted with, because we think he's a really good acquisition, he's doing really well. So for the most part, we're quite comfortable with the window closing.
I know you're not a huge fan of the January window, and you tend to try and do your business in the summer. Are you keeping your powder dry a little bit for the summer? Will you have funds to spend?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in our thinking. I think it is difficult to get the quality that you're really looking for. You can put in place things, and you can have conversations that maybe put to one side, and you revisit them in the summer when there's less of a time constraint on your dealings, and that can help. So yeah, it's fair to say we have got resources to go into the market, but we'll do it when we think we've got a real opportunity to get the ones that we really want. And if it means we have to wait a little bit longer, then so be it.
It was a strange one with Aaron Lennon, because he said he'd chosen Everton over you, but he said that's because he thought he had a better chance of first team football with Everton. So
apparently so, yeah, that was the message we got, which is fair enough. I think at the end of the day, you can't guarantee players game time, and I don't do that with any of my players. They've got to back their ability to be able to get into my team, which all the players I have in my squad do that. So players will have different thoughts on whether or not they want to move clubs or stay where they are. So I wasn't privy to everything that was going on. So in the end, it didn't happen. So we just move on.
How's Ryan Shawcross?
Yeah, he's a little bit sore at the moment. He's just got an issue with the disc in his back, which is a little bit inflamed. So that's causing him a problem. We're trying to get it to settle down somewhat. That's ongoing. We think he's likely to be out for a couple more weeks if everything goes to plan. So that's a shame, because obviously he's been playing exceptionally well. But we've got good cover. Ike Monies missed out in recent games, and that's been hard on him, because actually he's been playing very well. It was unfortunate to go out of the team. It was just that I wanted to have a look at Philip with different pairings, and playing him away and playing him at home. Just needed to see how he dealt with that, so that affected Mark's position in the team. But obviously he'll come back in now, and he'll have a number of games to press his claims again.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but if you'd known that Ryan was going to get injured, might that have changed your view on letting Robert Huth go out on loan?
Yeah, possibly, but it was too far down the line. It had been completed on Friday prior to the game, so you can't legislate for those things. That's what happens. As you say, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and if we'd have had it, we probably would have stepped back away from allowing Robert to go. But things had moved on, and everything was in place, and it had been signed off, so there wasn't any room to manoeuvre on.
Well, things came up from the game against QPR that interested me particularly, and that was Stephen Ireland with his first start for a while actually, and given that big mantle of taking on Boyan's role, 2 assists and looked very impressive. Has he impressed you? Has he made that position his own for a while?
I've been really pleased with what he's produced. I mean, he's come on in the cup games and made an impact as well. So listen, I've got a lot of time for Stephen. I think he's an exceptional football player. He's been unlucky this year. I've maybe mentioned it before. I thought arguably in pre-season he was our most impressive performer, and it looked like he was going to have a really strong start to the season. He went out of the team unfortunately through injury. And then found a struggle to get back in, and then had 1 or 2 niggles that kept him unavailable for selection. So he just needs a good run at it now, and obviously without Boyan in there, then he has that opportunity. But we've got other options as well. He knows that. He has to play well, like everybody does, to stay in the team. But I've been really pleased with what he produced. Before he retired towards the end of the game, that had a big influence on how we played. So we were pleased for him because he's appreciated by everybody in the club. Everybody acknowledges the ability that he has. He's just been a little bit unfortunate this year.
Jonathan Walters has been quietly clamouring for a striker's role, I think, in fairness. For both club and country, he's been used elsewhere. Do you now think that he's a striker? After the goals he scored, it's very hard to put him
I've
over.
always known that John's a striker. I mean, at times the variety to his plays probably has hampered him in the past, but irrespective of where you play John, he'll always put a shift in for you. He'll always have an impact on games, and he'll always give everything there. He has for the cause. So I know that he can do the job out wide, and do that job very well, as he's proved over many seasons. Will still be a goal threat for you in that position. I mean, it changed him later on in the game against QPR, and he still pops up and completes his hat-trick from a wider position. So that shows the versatility that John has and his nose for a goal. So really pleased for him. It was, albeit some question the quality of the hat-trick. It was an easy one and it was given too lightly, but when you score with your left foot, right foot and a header, I think you shouldn't have too many complaints from anybody.
It's your best ever points total, Stoke's best ever points total at this stage in the Premier League, 32 points after 23 matches. You can build on that, can't you? You always often do better in the second half of the season, but to have reached that milestone at this stage.
Yeah, I think I looked a couple of days back, I think we were certainly way ahead of where we were this time last year in terms of points accrued. I think we're probably about 8 or 10 points better than we were at this stage of the season. So given the way we finished the season and the number of games that we were able to win, that's encouraging, but you still got to go out and do it. It wasn't easy towards the back end of last year. I think there was a point in probably this time last year, where we slipped very briefly into the bottom three. So from that point onwards, we kicked on and we ended up with a total of 50 points. So obviously we're in a better shape and a better position this time than we were last year. So we hope we can build on that and take advantage of that, because we're probably where we hope to be in terms of our season. So we're not a million miles. I think we're within a couple of points of where we thought we would be in terms of points on the board. So we're pleased with that, and that's with bigger targets this year, so that's encouraging.
Two attacking teams on Sunday. Newcastle's natural instincts, I think, are to get the ball wide, get the ball down and attack a team. It could be quite an open game, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. I think Newcastle have had probably from their point of view a little bit of a frustrating season in terms of the beginning they had, and there was a little bit of pressure, and that was surrounding the team. Then they went on a great run. Had to change of manager now, but they picked up a really good performance and results last time out. So it won't be easy. It's never easy going to Newcastle on the road, as we found to our cost last year. So we hope the referee doesn't come and play a part as it seemed to last year. So we hope to avoid that. But it will be a difficult game. I mean, John Carver's obviously been given the position on a permanent basis to the end of the season. So as a proud Geordie, he'll be getting up for the game. So that adds to the difficulty, I would suggest. But we're playing well at the moment, and we're enjoying going on the road, and we're enjoying playing well. So we'll see what happens. Finally,
from me, there's a debate in football morally, I think, about Newcastle and the fact that Mike Ashley owns Newcastle and has a big share in Rangers now as well. 5 of their players have gone on loan to Rangers. We were told yesterday that the Rangers manager has been forced to play those 5 loan players. Morally, do you have an issue with one man having a big stake in 2 football clubs? Is it a concern?
Well, I'm not privy to the details of that connection with the 2 clubs that the owner of Newcastle has. On a business level, I'm sure it makes total sense to him as an owner, and the fact that the clubs are playing in different football pyramids, and maybe it's more acceptable. But I think the details of obviously the story that you intimated, that these players that are transferring to Rangers have been told that they're going to play. I'm not sure that's probably correct. I think it's a good story, but I'd be surprised if there wasn't a bit more detail around it. It's not just as clear cut as that. So as I say, I'm not privy to it, so I'm not in a position to comment.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Mark, is it a good opportunity to get revenge on Newcastle at St James's Park after last season's debacle?
Well, it's another opportunity to go up against a good Newcastle side. We were disappointed last time we played, obviously because of the circumstances of the game. I think at 1-0 to the good, we were good value. Looked totally in control of the game, and then all of a sudden the game got turned on its head. Two poor decisions in terms of losing players before half time to sending us off. To lose your manager as well is a little bit sloppy, I would suggest. So from going from a position where we're very comfortable winning away from home, which didn't happen too many times last year, we've been involved in a game that we've ended up conceding 5 goals, given the circumstances, understandable maybe. But we hope we don't get involved into a game of incident like it was last time we played.
You've got a great goalkeeper, Nazmin Begovic. They say great goalkeepers will several extra points a season, however many it is. And he made some crucial saves against QPR. Are you keen to hang on to him then? It must be crucial.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate at this club. We've got a really strong goalkeeping group, and we were able to keep them together last year. Tom Sorenson's a big part of that as well. So yeah, from my point of view, it gives me great comfort that we've got quality keepers right across the board. So yeah, we're probably in a more fortunate position than most clubs.
Mark, with Ryan's injury, let's get some clarity, because there was some talk about it being his groin that kept him out of the Leicester game, and then
yes, it's a different injury. It's his back. Yeah.
It's entirely separate.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Very well, folks.
All done.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.